Adobe just dropped some seriously huge numbers for its third quarter, and honestly, they didn't just meet expectations, they blew right past them and even raised the bar for the future. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, one massive theme is powering pretty much everything. Okay, let's dive in and break down Adobe's incredible AI-fueled quarter.
And we're going to start right at the top with this quote from CEO Shantanu Narayan because really, it says it all. This frames the entire story we're about to talk about. The takeaway here is that Adobe doesn't just see itself as a software company anymore, it sees itself as the leader in AI for creatives, and it's got the numbers to prove it. This is the heart of their entire strategy right now.
So, let's get right to that big headline number. A record-breaking $5.99 billion in revenue for just one quarter. That's an 11% jump from this time last year. And you know, this isn't just slow and steady growth. This feels like an acceleration. And it's telling us that whatever they're doing, it is working.
And hey, it's not just about the money coming in, it's about profitability, and that is absolutely surging. Their adjusted earnings per share hit $5.31. Now, what's really important about that number is that it's up 14% from last year. That means the company is getting more efficient and more profitable, even while it's pouring money into all this new AI tech.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at those record numbers and why Adobe is so confident. Then, we'll get into the real heart of the story, Adobe's AI power play. After that, we'll decode the different parts of the business, and finally, we'll look at what all this means for the road ahead.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Record Quarter Raised Bar. We've seen the big numbers, but what's really going on underneath? What's driving this incredible performance?
The answer, and Adobe is being super clear about this, is artificial intelligence. And look, this isn't just some buzzword they're slapping onto old products. It feels like they've completely rewired the company around AI, baking it into all their famous apps, and even launching brand new products that are AI first.
And that's the perfect segue into Section 2, Adobe's AI power play. This is where we get to see exactly how AI is shifting from just a cool feature to being the central growth engine for the entire company.
And they're really attacking this from all sides. You've got Firefly, their generative AI, which is now its own thing, pulling in tech from partners too. They're totally reinventing the good old PDF with Acrobat Studio, turning it into this interactive thing with an AI assistant. For the big corporate clients, there's Gen Studio to automate marketing. And maybe most importantly, they're putting all this new AI magic right inside the tools we all know and use, like Photoshop, Illustrator, and Premiere Pro.
Okay, but the big question is always, are people actually paying for all this? And the answer is a resounding yes. The revenue that's directly tied to AI has now blown past $5 billion a year. Now, just to put that in perspective, that number was only $3.5 billion at the end of last year. So this is real proof that customers are opening their wallets for these new AI tools.
And get this, for their totally new, built-from-the-ground-up AI products, they had a goal to hit $250 million in recurring revenue by the end of the year. Well, they've already smashed through that target, and there's still a whole quarter left to go. That just shows you how much demand there is for this stuff.
Okay, so let's move on to Section 3 and see how this all fits together. We're going to decode the business a little bit and figure out where that record-setting revenue is actually coming from. So Adobe basically has two main engines. The first, and the bigger one you see there, is digital media. That's all the stuff you think of: Photoshop, Acrobat, Creative Cloud. That brought in $4.46 billion. The other engine is digital experience, which is more for big companies, providing marketing and analytics tools. That brought in a very healthy $1.48 billion. Both parts of the business are growing really nicely. Now, we've mentioned this term ARR a couple of times. Let's just do a super quick definition. It stands for annualized recurring revenue. Basically, just think of it as the predictable, stable income a company knows it can count on from all its subscribers over the next year. It's a huge sign of a healthy subscription business. And Adobe's ARR is, well, it's just massive. Just the digital media part of the business, the creative and document stuff, now has an ARR of $18.59 billion. That is the bedrock of the entire company, and it's still growing at almost 12% a year. It just shows how incredibly strong their core business is. And if you dig into who's actually paying, the story gets even better. Of course, the traditional base of creative and marketing pros is still growing at a really strong 11%. But look at that. 15% growth from regular business professionals and consumers. This is huge. It proves that products like Acrobat and Express are successfully pulling in a much wider audience.
And that brings us to our final section, the road ahead. A great quarter is one thing, but what does it mean for the future? Well, it looks like Adobe is feeling extremely confident.
This slide really says it all. On the left, you see the record results they just posted. And on the right, their official targets for the next quarter. They're aiming even higher. They're not just hoping the momentum continues, they're actually forecasting that it's going to accelerate.
And they're not just being optimistic about the next 3 months, they've raised their targets for the entire year. They're now expecting to hit up to $23.7 billion in revenue for the full year. To me, that's a huge signal that management truly believes this AI strategy is the real deal and that it's going to keep on delivering.
So, if you boil this all down, what's the one big takeaway? It's that these Q3 results are way more than just numbers on a page. They are proof of a massive transformation happening in real time. Adobe is shifting from a company that just uses AI to a true AI-first company, where this technology is the engine for everything they do from now on.
And that leaves us with this one big, fascinating question for the future. As AI completely redefines how we create things and how companies market to us, is Adobe building an ecosystem that's just untouchable? By weaving AI so deeply into every single step of the process, are they creating a competitive advantage so strong that no one else can catch up? That seems to be the multi-billion-dollar bet they're making right now.